A high dragon is not a joke. We'd best be careful. Real careful.
They say music soothes the savage beast, but I'm not going to test that theory.
A high dragon? We're not planning on actually fighting it, are we? Couldn't we just sneak around it?
Something that can swallow me whole. Make us breath.
Glory!
I bid you welcome, Pilgrim. I am the Guardian, the protector of the Urn of Sacred Ashes. I have waited years for this. No one can take the ashes. They belong here. It has been my duty, my life, to protect the urn and prepare the way for the faithful who come to revere Andraste. For years beyond counting have I been here, and shall I remain until my task is done and the Imperium has crumbled into the sea. Ah, is it not? Then perhaps this is the beginning of the end. No, our Andraste has gone to the Maker's side. She will not return. The dragon is a fearsome creature, and they must have seen her as an alternative to the absent Maker and his silent Andraste. A true believer would not require audacious displays of power. I am all that remains of the first disciples. I swore I would protect the urn as long as I lived, and I have lived a very long time. Did anyone really know her, save the Maker? She would sometimes spend weeks alone in meditation, often without food or water. I made a vow to Andraste and to the Maker. My life is tied to the ashes. As long as they remain, so will I. You have come to honor Andraste, and you shall, if you prove yourself worthy. It is not my place to decide your worthiness. The Gauntlet does that. If you are found worthy, you will see the urn and be allowed to take a small pinch of the ashes for yourself. If not, the Gauntlet tells the true pilgrims from the false. You will undergo 4 tests of faith, and we shall see how your soul fares. Before you go, there is something I must ask. I see that the path that led you here was not easy. There is suffering in your past. Your suffering, and the suffering of others. By the time you reached Shiane, she was broken, brutalized. You were too late. Tell me, Pilgrim, did you fail Shiane? Your path is laid out before me and plain to see. In the lines of your face and the scars on your heart. Do you believe you failed Shiane? Then you do not dwell on past mistakes. Neither yours nor someone else's.
It's easy for others to judge what you've done in hindsight, but it doesn't make it any better.
What's past is past. Why bring it up and open old wounds?
Oh, good. For a moment there, I thought you were going to go on a weepy tirade and try to share your feelings.
And what of those that follow you? Alistair, Knight, and Warden. You wonder if things would have been different if you were with Duncan on the battlefield. You could have shielded him from the killing blow. You wonder, don't you, if you should have died and not him?
Yes. If Duncan had been saved and not me, everything would be better. If I just had the chance, maybe I...
And you? Why do you say the Maker speaks to you, when all know that the Maker has left? He spoke only to Andraste. Do you believe yourself her equal?
I never said that.
In Orlais you were someone. In Lothering, you feared you would lose yourself, become a drab sister, and disappear. When your brothers and sisters of the cloister criticized you for what you professed, you were hurt, but you also reveled in it. It made you special. You enjoyed the attention, even if it was negative.
You're saying that I made it up for the attention? I did not. I know what I believe.
And the Antivan elf.
Oh, is it my turn now? Hurrah! I'm so excited.
Many have died at your hand. But is there any you regret more than a woman by the name of...
How do you know about that?
I know much. It is allowed to me. The question stands, however. Do you regret?
Yes, the answer is yes, if that's what you wish to know. I do. Now move on.
The way is open. Good luck, and may you find what you seek.
Echoes from a shadow realm, whispers of things yet to come. Thought's strange sister dwells in night, is swept away by dawning light. Of what do I speak? A dream came upon me as my daughter slumbered beneath my heart. It told of her life, and of her betrayal and death. I am sorrow and regret. I am a mother weeping bitter tears for a daughter she could not save.
The smallest lark could carry it, while a strong man might not. Of what do I speak? Yes, I was Andraste's dearest friend in childhood, and always we would sing. She celebrated the beauty of life, and all who heard her would be filled with joy. They say the Maker himself was moved by Andraste's song, and then she sang no more of simple things.
I'd neither a guest nor a trespasser be. In this place I belong, that belongs also to me. Of what do I speak? It was my dream for the people to have a home of their own, where we would have no masters but ourselves. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, and thus we followed Andraste against the Imperium. But she was betrayed, and so were we.
An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. The debt of blood must be paid in full. Of what do I speak? Yes, my husband Hissarion would have chosen a quick death for Andraste. I made him swear that she would die publicly with her war leaders, that all would know the Imperium's strength. I am justice. I am vengeance. Blood can only be repaid in blood.
A poison of the soul, passion's cruel counterpart. From love she grows, till love lies slain. Of what do I speak? Yes, jealousy drove me to betrayal. I was the greatest general of the Alamari, but beside her I was nothing. Hundreds fell before her on bended knee. They loved her, as did the Maker. I loved her too. But what man can compare with a god?
The bones of the world stretched towards the sky's embrace, veiled in white, like a bride greeting her groom. Of what do I speak? Yes. I carried Andraste's ashes out of Tevinter into the mountains to the east, where she could gaze ever into her Maker's sky. No more fitting a tomb than this could we find.
No man has seen it, but all men know it. Lighter than air, sharper than any sword. Comes from nothing, but will fell the strongest armies. Of what do I speak? Yes, hunger was the weapon used against the wicked men of the Tevinter Imperium. The Maker kindled the sun's flame, scorching the land. Their crops failed, and their armies could not march. Then he opened the heavens and bade the waters flow, and washed away their filth. I am Cather, disciple of Andraste and commander of her armies. I saw these things done, and knew the Makers smiled on us.
She wields the broken sword, and separates true kings from tyrants. Of what do I speak? Yes, I could not bear the sight of Andraste's suffering, and mercy bade me end her life. I am the penitent sinner, who shows compassion as he hopes compassion will be shown to him.
Hey. Who else? It's good to see you, I suppose. Life out there's been good to you, hasn't it? You're respected even among humans. Do you remember us? Where you came from? And what some of us still face every day? Really? Thank you, but that will take time. More time than you can spare. You don't even feel much anymore when you remember it, do you? You've moved on, past the horror of that night. I envy you. You've gone on to other things, things I can only dream of. You have a great task to complete. I want you to take this. I think you should have it. Seeing you now gives me hope. For all of us.
We compete for points. Oh, another battle it is! Die already! Oh, it is!
That's a lot of blood. Hey, you see those thingies over on the side of that huge chasm? I bet they're used for something. Maybe I should touch them or stand on them?
Yes. Next time we see a strange contraption, why don't you just go stand on it? If something bad happens, hey, we know it's a trap.
You don't really think they're traps, do you? Uh-oh. I'm terrible at puzzles.
This looks fun. I bet we'll have to work together and join hands and sing a happy song to get across.
Ah, this looks like a simple enough puzzle. Let us put our heads together.
Ooh, look at that. I don't think it's solid enough to stand on, but it's a start. That's it! That's an actual bridge piece right there. If we can get all the bridge pieces to be solid, we can make it across. Maker's breath. Andraste only favored the clever, it seems. By the Maker. It's the urn of sacred ashes. it. That's really it.
I don't know what to say.
Mother of mercy. It is real.
You have been through the trials of the Gauntlet. You have walked the path of Andraste, and like her, you have been cleansed. You have proven yourself worthy, Pilgrim. Approach the sacred ashes.
I never dreamed I would ever lay my eyes on the urn of sacred ashes. I have no words to express.
I didn't think anyone could succeed in finding Andraste's final resting place. But here she is.
Nice vase. I should get one for my house.
Welcome back. You were gone for quite some time. Well, did you find it? Is that? Oh, there's some dust on... No, that's not dust. Oh, Maker, I'm not worthy to look upon. What was it like, coming to the urn, I mean? Tests? Interesting. Very interesting. Perhaps my research will not seem so much like blasphemy to the Chantry now. We must organize an expedition. There is so much history here, it must be studied. And pilgrims should be allowed to come to the urn. But the urn belongs to all the faithful. How can you deny this to them? No, we must share it.
I agree. We cannot withhold this from others. It is not our place.
So everyone comes by and takes some ashes from the urn. Ooh, I hope that urn is self-replenishing.
And perhaps charge an entrance fee, no?
I will spread this good news or die trying. I must return home. I have much to do. If you ever find yourself in Denerim, please visit me. I am not a rich man, but I have a small collection of interesting artifacts, and I do owe you a reward for coming to my rescue. I hope to see you soon, my friend.
Well, that depends, does it not? What does she seem to be? Oh, she is certainly old. Have no mistake of that. Tell me, how much do you know of the tale? The one that the chastened still tell of my mother, to frighten them into obedience. Ah, I see. That does explain much. I can relay what Flemeth once told me herself, and you can decide whether or not 'tis the truth, if you desire. As the tale is sung by the bards, there was a time when Flemeth was young and beautiful, a fair lass in a land of barbarian men, the desire of any who saw her. Many centuries before this land was even named Ferelden. The tales say that Flemeth fell in love with Osen the Bard and fled the castle of her husband, the dread Lord Conabar, and that he swore vengeance for her infidelity. In truth, my mother claims that 'twas Osen who was her husband, and Conabar the jealous lord who looked on from afar.
Lord Conobar approached young Osen and offered him wealth and power in exchange for his lovely wife. And Osen agreed. The life of a bard is a poor one, and love fades in the wake of hunger. 'Twas Flemeth who suggested the arrangement. All would have been well had Lord Conobar kept his end of the bargain. But he was a foul man who bargained with coin he did not possess. Osen was led off to a field and slain, left for dead. Flemeth spoke to the spirits and learned of the deed, and swore revenge. Spirits first, and 'twas they who slew Conobar. Flemeth did not turn to the demon until much later. Lord Conobar's allies chased Flemeth, you see. Chased her to the wilds, and there she hid. There she found the demon, and he made her strong. The legends all speak of the great hero Cormac, he who defeated Flemeth and her great army when she invaded the lowlands centuries later. All lies. The truth of the matter is that there was never an invasion. As Flemeth tells it, the Chastened never raised an army under her banner, and she never fought with any warrior named Cormac. Cormac led a brutal civil war against his own people, and later claimed it was to vanquish evil that had taken root amongst the lords. Thus, he was hailed a hero. Flemeth was only attached to the legend much later. Perhaps 'twas due to the great war with the Chastened that eventually came, but Mother claims not to know how it began. I do not believe everything that Flemeth claims. Oft it seems her bitterness has colored her memories. But on the whole, yes, I believe this tale, if not all. The demon within her has transformed her into something else. An abomination, perhaps some would say. I know not. I only know my mother is clever, and she is part of the wilds as it is part of her. But she is no immortal. She bleeds. A blade in her heart would kill her like any other, were it lucky enough to find her. How often is this usually? Always? If not always, then when is it not true? There are more things in this world and the next than you or I could ever hope to understand. What Flemeth became is a mystery. I suspect, even to her. Flemeth tells it with far more embellishment than I, but you are welcome. Dare I ask of your own mother? Few are abominations of legend, 'tis true, but I find myself curious nevertheless. Ah, then you have my sympathies for what it is worth. Which is very little, I am certain. It matters not. Let us move on.
You return. Might you have news? Unchanged, I'm afraid. We've tried more magical healing, but nothing works. As time passes, I become more and more convinced the urn might be our only hope. You have? Wonderful. Let us go at once to Eamon's side and see if the urn's healing powers live up to their reputation.
Where am I?
Be calm, brother. You have been deathly ill for a very long time. Do you remember nothing?
Tegan? What are you doing here? Where is Isolde?
I am here, my husband.
And Connor? Where is my boy? Where is our son?
He lives, though many others are dead. There is much to tell you, husband.
Dead? Then it was not a dream.
Much has happened since you fell ill, brother. Some of it will not be easy for you to hear.
Then tell me. I wish to hear all of it. This is most troubling. There is much to be done, that is true. But I should first be thankful to those who have done so much. Grey Warden, you have not only saved my life, but kept my family safe as well. I am in your debt. Will you permit me to offer you a reward for your service? Then allow me to declare you and those traveling with you champions of Redcliffe. You will always be a welcome guest within these halls. And for you, Warden, a shield of the same make as those that have been given to our finest knights.
Indeed. We have no way of knowing what Loghain will do once he learns of your recovery.
Loghain instigates a civil war even though the Darkspawn are on our very doorstep. Long I have known him. He is a sensible man, one who never desired power.
I was there when he announced he was taking control of the throne, Eamon. He is mad with ambition, I tell you.
Mad indeed. Mad enough to kill Cailan, to attempt to kill myself and destroy my lands. Whatever happened to him, Loghain must be stopped. What's more, we can scarce afford to fight this war to its bitter end. I could unite those opposing Loghain, yes. But not all oppose him. He has some very powerful allies. We have no time to wage a campaign against him. Someone must surrender if Ferelden is to have any chance at fighting the Darkspawn. I will spread word of Loghain's treachery, both here and against the king. But it will be but a claim made without proof. Those claims will give Loghain's allies pause, but we must combine it with a challenge Loghain cannot ignore. We need someone with a stronger claim to the throne than Loghain's daughter, the Queen.
Are you referring to Alistair, brother? Are you certain?
I would not propose such a thing if we had an alternative, but the unthinkable has occurred. Tegan and I have a claim through marriage, but we would seem opportunists no better than Loghain. Alistair's claim is by blood.
And what about me? Does anyone care what I want?
You have a responsibility, Alistair. Without you, Loghain wins. I would have to support him for the sake of Ferelden. Is that what you want?
But I... No, my lord.
I see only one way to proceed. I will call for a landsmeet, a gathering of all of Ferelden's nobility in the city of Denerim. There, Ferelden can decide who shall rule, one way or another. Then the business of fighting our true foe can begin. What say you to that, my friend? I do not wish to proceed without your blessing. I'm not sure that would help our cause. We would become the criminals, and our accusations would become excuses. Furthermore, I'm not even certain where Loghain might be. Unless we convince some of Loghain's allies to abandon him, that's not likely to happen. Our army is not large enough. As a Grey Warden, you may gather allies to you, but we need those forces to face the Darkspawn, not to battle against our own. Why do you think he had me poisoned? He wanted me gone without having to confront me directly. If I call for a landsmeet, refusing the compromise and attacking Redcliffe will only support our accusations. I'm sure he'd rather I died from the poison. Had the demon not interfered, that's exactly what would have happened. That depends. If we cannot get a consensus in the landsmeet for Alistair, we cannot afford to oppose Loghain either. Does that mean Loghain could win? A man who killed his own king, who has gone mad with power? Perhaps. We must see that he does not. Ferelden must stand united to defeat the Darkspawn. A fractured nation will not defeat the Blight, even given my army and those gathered with your treaties. You have already found allies, but we need those to fight Darkspawn. I truly believe the landsmeet is our best option. We could attempt to wage a military campaign against Loghain, but even if we win, would we have enough left to defeat the Darkspawn?
No, but neither would Loghain.
Perhaps Loghain gambles on this attitude, that everyone will decide facing the Darkspawn is more vital than facing him, so that he leads us against the Horde. Very well. I will send out the word. But before we proceed,
I believe there is the matter of the mage, my son's tutor. He still lives, I understand.
He does. He is in the dungeon, brother.
Have him brought here, Tegan. I wish to see him. Jowan, what you have done is not in question. You tried to assassinate me and set into motion a series of events that nearly destroyed everything I cherish. What have you to say in your own defense?
Nothing, my lord. Other than to say I am sorry. I expect no mercy for what I have done.
I see. Grey Warden, have you anything to say on Jowan's behalf? Thus spared my wife from offering herself as sacrifice as well, I understand. But has he done all this just to save his own skin? And what would you have me do? As the injured party, my ability to see the merciful path is strained. True enough, and wisely said. Jowan, I hereby turn you over to the Tower of the Circle of Magi. May the Maker have mercy on your soul.
Thank you, my lord.
Now, back to the matter of the Landsmeet. It will take some time to recall my forces and organize our allies. I would prefer to wait until that is done before calling the Landsmeet. In the meantime, I suggest you pursue the remainder of the Grey Warden treaties. We will need all the allies we can get if we are to defeat the Darkspawn Horde.